Hey y'all, today I'm sharing my garden planting calendar, and I just used the calendar page that I set up in my monthly planner video. So I use the moon phases and the astrological signs to know what days are best to plant when. I know that sounds really woo-woo, but farmers have been using this for centuries and it has made a tremendous difference in how well my garden does. So if I could only choose one system, I would definitely choose the moon phases. And we start off the month with a dark moon phase. And I use little arrows to let me know that this is the dark moon phase. This is the time that you want, since we're in the dark moon phase, we do our below ground crops like our beets and turnips and radishes, those types of things. And so after the 3rd, we're going to have the new moon, which is the darkest day. So we'll fill that in. And that happens at 7:13 a.m. So since it's early in the morning, we're going to go ahead and say that Sunday is an above ground day. And this is the days that you would plant like your brassicas and your cauliflower or like lettuce and spinach and those types of things. And August is a really big month for where I'm at. It is the time where we need to start getting all of those fall crops ready, and that way we beat the clock because we are running out of time quickly. So for me, that is kind of like my sweet spot to get everything done. This all depends upon where you're at. If you're up north, it may be a little too late to start. You probably should have started last month, but from where I'm at in the south, I'm in Arkansas, this is the perfect time. So on the 19th, we have a full moon. This is actually the first supermoon of the year, and this full moon is called the sturgeon moon or the green corn moon, and that happens at 2:26 p.m. So for most of the day will be an above ground day, but after 2:26 p.m. that's when we'll change to the below ground days again. So we will be below ground all the way through the end of the month and actually into September. So we'll keep going like this. That's really cool that this is the first supermoon of the year. So we'll be all the way, or below ground all the way until, let's see, September 2nd at 9:56 p.m. and then it'll change to an above ground day. Okay, so that is the moon phase part of this. Now I also use the astrological signs to help me know what's best to do when, like especially with certain plants. So the 1st and the 2nd, the astrological sign, I went a little wonky there. Sorry, I'm not a perfectionist, so if that bothers you, sorry. I just go with it. So the astrological sign is Cancer, the breast. And this is a very fertile day. So this is like the best of the best day to plant. So if you had like I was saying before, like your beets, turnips, radishes, carrots, all those things, this would be a great day to plant those. Now the 3rd and the 4th, the astrological sign is Leo, the heart. So let me write that. And these I write as killing days. I know that might kind of seem shocking, but these are days that you do not want to do any planting on. These days are actually great for doing weeding. That really helps. It kind of suppresses the weeds and they don't grow back quite as fast. I have messed up before and planted plants on the killing days and they have not done well. Unfortunately, they were perennials and they have not done well at all. So I am a big believer in that. So I do not like to do any like planting, transplanting, uppotting, seed starting, anything like that on these days. Okay, so the next few days, the next 3 days is Virgo the bowels. So we'll write that, Virgo the bowels. And this is a flowering day. So we'll write that. And this day you're not supposed to plant like your, say if you were to do like tomatoes or peppers or those types of things, supposedly that they don't set fruit and do as well. The verdict's still out on that one for me, but this is a really great day for just normal flowers like these. This would be great to like get your last set of sunflowers in for the month or for the year and get that nice pretty fall sunflowers. Other flowers that can make it where I'm at through the winter, generally, unless if it's extremely cold, we can usually grow like pansies and violets, calendula, and I'm also going to try nasturtiums too. I was reading, I'll tell you all about it here in a little bit, that can be a really good companion plant for certain crops. Okay, so continuing on with the flowers, on the 8th and the 9th, we have Libra, the rains. So, and this is also a flowering day. So we have several flowering days and a few more, I think, right? Nope, that's it. Okay, so just these. So this is our flowering days for the full month, and it's great too. It works out perfect because it's an above ground day. Sometimes it doesn't always work out like that, but this month it does. Okay, so the next 2 days, excuse me, my voice is going crazy here. Okay, so the next few days is Scorpio, actually, goes all the way to the 12th. Scorpio, I'm so sorry. Scorpio, the secrets. There we go. And this is a very fertile day. So this is like the best of the best day to plant. And I hope that I'm going to be able to get all of those crops in, like the brassicas and the broccoli, kale, cabbage, Chinese cabbage, lettuce, spinach, all those types of things. I think this would be like the perfect day for me. So I'm hoping I can get that done. After that, we have a couple more days. So the 13th and 14th, this is Sagittarius, the thighs. And this is just a fertile day. So this is kind of like an okay day. It's not really either good or bad. It's kind of okay. And I really haven't noticed a whole lot of difference, maybe just slightly bit of a difference in plants planted on fertile days versus very fertile days. And after that, we have Capricorn, the knees. So we'll write that. And this one is also fertile days, so just okay, but like I said, I haven't noticed a tremendous amount of difference. It's slightly better to do very fertile, but only slightly. And let's see, so the next few days we have Aquarius, the legs. And I try my best to follow this system, but sometimes, you know, life gets busy and you can't follow this to a T. I see that my garden does a lot better whenever I'm able to do it, but sometimes life happens and you just can't, you know, can't do it on these certain days, and you just have to do the best that you can. So even I don't follow this completely to a T because I have issues, there are things that pop up, and life just happens to everybody. So it doesn't always go perfectly like I would like. So these days are also fertile days, and this is just like kind of so-so days or okay days. Let's see, after that we have the 19th and the 20th. And this is Pisces, the feet. So whenever we have that new moon, this is going to be a very fertile day. Now, I have heard different or varying opinions. Some people say that you shouldn't plant on like the new moon, I guess the full moon, or when things change basically. And some people say you should, and some people say you shouldn't. So I don't know. I have yet to be able to track this and see if there's much of a difference. I need to work on that and see if I notice anything, but some people swear by that and some people don't, so you'll hear varying opinions, and for me the verdict's still out on that one. I have not done enough of research to see if that really does make a difference, but that is something to keep in mind. You know, you can do your own tracking and see what works great for you. Okay, the 21st and the 22nd is Aries, the head. And And this is more killing days. So this is like no planting, seed starting, transplanting, nothing like that. If you can have to do something in the garden, and it would be great to do, is to do all of your weeding. Those are the days that I try and reserve for that, but like I said, it doesn't always happen that way. Okay, so the 23rd and the 24th are also, or let's say what astrological sign it is. It's Taurus, the neck, and that is also very fertile days. So these are, so you get another shot. So if you weren't able to get those like turnips and radishes and carrots and all that planted here, you've got another shot at it here. And honestly, I probably, since it's already later anyways, I'm probably just going to do it here, because where we're at, the August is a really hot month. So I think I will probably be better to try and do that more later in the month, where hopefully it will cool down, fingers crossed. We have some really hot days ahead, and August is horrible in Arkansas. So the next few days here is my favorite days. This is Gemini, the arms. So I really love this one because it is the bean and pea day, and I have had the best luck with planting on this day for beans and peas, especially peas. I had struggled with peas for years and years, and I started using this system, and it made such a difference. Like, we literally had walls of peas in our garden, and I love it so much. But this also works for beans. I think it's so funny too, because it's the arms and they have the little tendrils that go everywhere, but it works perfect. And I think, at least for where I'm at, we can still get one more crop of beans in, unless if it's an early winter or something, we can get another crop of beans in before the winter time comes. Okay, after that we have a couple more days. This is Cancer, the breast, and if you're noticing a theme, we are basically starting all over again. So it's just repeats every month, but it kind of falls on different days and everything, and the moon phases changes as well. So since we're going back, it's going to be very fertile days. And then the last 2 days of the month is Leo, the heart, over here. So if we're following along, it's Leo, the heart, and those are going to be killing days. So no planting, do as much weeding as possible. That is best to do on those days. Okay, and let's see, I think that's everything for the astrological signs and the moon phases. Other things, there are a few days that are good for making changes. That is the 20th and the 21st. Those are like the best of the best days. Actually, I think it was saying only part of the day of the 21st too. So probably the 20th is the way to go. And this is things like if you wanted to start exercising or stop some type of bad habits, or even if you're weaning like animals or children or something like that, that is a good time to do that. But another like good time to do that is anytime you're like in the basically past the hip area and like in your thighs all the way down, because all of the energy is moving out of your body. That is a good time to do that. Also, that is also a good time to do any elective surgeries, of course, if it's an emergency, anytime, whenever that happens. But if you have elective surgeries, that is a good time to do that. We've actually had experience with that with the dentist, and we went whenever it was kind of an above ground day or a light moon phase, and there were all kinds of issues. Went back, had it fixed, and on the right type of day where it was like the dark moon phase, and it was also, or where the, I guess it wasn't the dark moon phase, it was where the energy was moving out of the body, and everything worked out great, and it was so much better. So I highly suggest doing that. So you want to make sure that the energy is moving out of the body, like whenever it's in these parts, like from the thighs all the way down to the feet. And other things to keep in mind is you want to, if you want to have gravel laid, or you have like stepping stones you want to put in the garden, or even fence post, those are best to do in the light moon phase. So like the 4th, what would that be, through the 18th, I guess. Those would be the days that you would want to do all of that. It helps your fence post not to sink into the ground, and all of your gravel and stepping stones to sink into the ground as well. I don't know if you've ever dug a hole in the light moon phase, you have more dirt left over, and whenever you dig a hole on the dark moon phase, there's not enough to fill it back in. So it's really crazy. I know it sounds really woo-woo, but we have tried this, and I swear by it. Every time I've tried it, it has worked out that way. So I also do like reading and figure out new things, and a few things that I have learned about that I find really interesting. So I'm always learning about gardening because it's my hobby, and I just find all of this really, really interesting. I learned that crops harvested under the Leo sign, so actually like this killing sign here, they were saying that they are thought to keep better, as well as during the moon's last quarter. That's what I was reading in this book. Now, everybody has varying opinions. You will hear different things, and I have not done enough of research on all of this and tracked it well enough to know. But I think this year, if I can manage it, whenever we harvest all of our sweet potatoes, that's a big root crop that we have that we store for a long time. We don't have like a root cellar or anything. We just store it in our kitchen, and it lasts a really long time. If I can manage it and everything works out, I'm going to try and do it on the Leo sign and see if I notice a difference and see if they last any longer. Other things I was reading is that pears harvested green and stored in nettle hay deters like fermentation and mold, and they just generally keep better in the nettle hay. Now, I don't know if y'all have ever dealt with nettle, but stinging nettle, I don't know if it's worth it because that stuff is savage, but if that works for you and you don't mind it, like I find that I have to use kitchen gloves with that because they are really, really bad about stinging and they can really hurt. So if you want to do that and find that it's worth it, that would be really cool to try. The critters got all of my pears this year, so I can't do that, but I might try and do something like that with apples. We'll see. Also, I was reading that nettles planted next to crops are more insect repellent, and especially with slugs and snails in wet weather. We had a lot of issues with that. We had a really wet spring compared to normal, and I found that really, really interesting. I was kind of wondering if you could just make a mulch of the nettle, and that would work too. I'm really interested in trying that. They also said that it helps your tomato plants grow stronger too, so I thought that was really interesting. You just have to be really, really careful so them things don't sting you. Also, since we're getting into the fall garden and we're going to be planting lettuce and things like that, I have seen so many things saying that, excuse me, my voice, I'm so sorry, that chives make a great barrier plant for lettuce, and I have seen so many different things about that, and I've actually tried that before, and it really does make a big difference, so I'm going to try and remember and do that with my lettuce this year. Also, I was talking about the nasturtiums with the flowering days. I have been wanting to try for years and see how they do in the fall. I always plant them in the spring, and they grow really great in the spring. They like kind of the cooler weather. Where we're at, it's just too hot for them in the summertime. And I was reading that those are a great companion for broccoli. So hopefully we'll get to grow broccoli. There's this one variety I really want to grow, and hopefully we'll be able to get and can do that. Let's see. Also, I was reading that lettuce is really good to plant in between like broccoli and cabbage, that it's kind of grows so much faster than the others. You can almost like get a crop of that in before the broccoli and cabbage get too big. So I thought that was really neat, but you do need to remember that those are really heavy feeders, and you want to make sure and add more compost or fertilize it really good because those plants are very heavy feeders. And another thing I was going to mention, I touched on it just a moment, but timing is critical whenever it comes to your fall garden. For me, like I said, August is kind of my sweet spot, but this all depends on where you're at. So y'all may have to do a little testing and experimenting and see what time works great for where you're at. Like I was saying before, if you're in the north, this may be way too late to plant your fall garden. And if you're like way in the south, like Florida or something, this may be way too early. So just keep all of that in mind. Another thing I do is I keep a little cheat sheet here to help me remember some of the things I need to do in August. So I need to be sure and start my plants. Of course, water the garden, because this time of year for us, we have a lot of issues with drought and really, really hot days. I also do my fertilizer and weed. The garden is producing like crazy, so we have lots of harvest and preserving to do. Try and tie up the tomatoes because they're growing like crazy in all of the heat. I need to check for pests and any seed saving too. And remember to save seeds from fully ripe plants. I made that mistake with my peppers the first time, so make sure it's fully ripe plants. Other things that we're harvesting is like okra and elderberries. Ours actually were a couple of weeks earlier, so we're not into August. That was actually more in July when those were ready. As well as figs. My fig tree is not doing the best. It is really old and it's struggling, but it's got a bunch of new branches that came up, and I'm hoping next year we'll be able to get figs from that. Of course, we've got like tomatoes and peppers, beans, squash, melons, herbs. Our apples were also a little bit early too, just like the elderberries. It's crazy. Everything was a few weeks early this year, and we got no pears from the mean little raccoons that came and ate them all. And I also like to keep track of things that are flowering. Our crepe myrtle is flowering, and the neighbor has one too, and it is gorgeous. It is so massive. Also, I have another neighbor that has a Rose of Sharon, and it's beautiful. And the zinnias and the sunflowers, and I'm not growing it this year, but the loofah, years ago, it was blooming and just absolutely beautiful in August. It has the most beautiful yellow flowers that the bees absolutely love. So that's kind of my little cheat sheet, so I remember to do this. Robert has some grand plans for our fall garden, and I'm not sure if we're going to be able to do that. He kind of sprung it all on me at last minute, so hopefully I'll be able to do that and get everything the way he's hoping anyways. But I hope that y'all have a great month with your garden and it produces abundantly and you're able to get your fall garden in and it does the same. Thank y'all all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Y'all take care and we'll see you next time. Bye!